keep unfolding. So yesterday, when we talked about this case, we had questions about the extent of the relationship between Kevin and Ortencia. Allegedly, on the police report, when Ortencia spoke to the officers, she told them that she met Kevin the night before. However, Kevin Samuels has a friend who is an attorney. His name is Dennis Spurling, and he has a YouTube channel. And he has indicated that he has had conversations with Kevin, before Kevin had passed away. And during these conversations, he had talked about his excitement in meeting Hortensia, and just he showed photos of how beautiful she was. He stated that, and we talked about this, he stated that Hortensia, her brother, was a fan of Kevin Samuels. So Hortensia's brothers watched Kevin Samuels online and was a fan. And that is how Hortensia came to know Kevin. Because you remember the question was, why was she in Atlanta? She was living in Dallas, Texas. She's from Kansas. Why was she in Atlanta? Well, it appears to be that they had already been introduced to each other. Kevin was introduced to Hortensia through her brother, who was a fan. So I don't know if they had already been talking and, maybe over the phone or whatever, and was developing some type of connection. And then eventually she flew down there, or he maybe flew her out to Atlanta to meet her physically, in the physical. And she probably flew out there on Wednesday, on the 4th, to meet him. And that's how she ended up at his house when you saw her on the live. And, they were working on some type of relationship. And based upon this individual, Dennis, who is a friend of Kevin, who has spoke with Kevin, Kevin was very excited about Hortensia. And he had said he loved her caliber, who she was, how classy she was, her career, everything about her physically, all of that. She checked all the boxes that, he talks about on his page, and the things that he discusses. And he told his friend here, Brian, that if things went well, that he was going to consider marrying Hortensia. So Hortensia's statements on her Instagram, when she said that, she is a humble 6-figure woman, who is better than, being a one-night stand. Basically, it's coming out and showing the truth that this relationship was more than just her meeting him out at a bar, that they had been introduced by her brother, and they had been talking for, I don't know how long they've been talking, but it looks like they were in the process of getting to know each other and had conversations. Because if you watch my prior video I just did, when I played the full video on the 911 call, I told you I was wondering why, when she was on the 911 call and she was talking to Kevin, she told him to think about his mother, think about his daughter. And I thought, that's interesting that she knew those details. I wonder if they've had deeper conversations than just meeting on Wednesday, as she claimed in the report. So based upon this police report, the statement she gave to the officers, she wasn't honest. Her and Kevin knew each other before Wednesday, and they were in the process of dating each other, possibly getting to know each other, to see if this relationship was going to develop into a long-term relationship. So let's hear the statement from Dennis, who is the friend of Kevin Samuels, regarding Hortensia.
And I'm assuming this is going to be all over the news too, because this is the first time I've said it. I know that my good friend Kevin Samuels would want you to do that, because he'd approached me several times about suing some of these struggle streamers and some of these news outlets about some of the things that they said about him. And let me tell you something else that I know. I know that because of my last conversation with him before he died, and our subsequent text messages, when he told me about you and how he met you through your brothers, and how your brothers are his fans, and they were happy that you met him, he sounded rejoiceful. He was happy. He was excited to have met such a humble, sweet, beautiful young woman. He loved the fact that you were classy and dignified. A good woman from the Midwest. He told me that if things continued on that course that they were on, that he would even be willing to marry you and have children. This is what Kevin Samuels told me about you. And I'm truly happy that in the last days he had here on earth, after having to deal with all of the adversary, the adversity that he's had to deal with, after dealing with all of this foolishness, the man that is led, he was finally able to spend time with you. He sent me your beautiful picture. I told him you were gorgeous. I did. Gorgeous. That's what I told him, and he was happy about that. And let me tell you something else. I hope that you seek therapy.
Okay. So yeah, so this man right here, as I mentioned, is Kevin Samuels' friend. He had conversations before about this woman, Ortencia. So the reason why everyone initially thought it was a one-night stand was because of her statements to the officers. Clearly, she wasn't forthcoming and didn't give the full details, and understandably enough, I think maybe they had already been talking. She was introduced to Kevin Samuels through her brothers, who are fans of Kevin Samuels. They've been watching Kevin Samuels for, I don't know how long, and they introduced her to Kevin Samuels. And that's kind of like a hookup. From one of his fans, he got hooked up with their sister, basically. And they probably had been having phone conversations because she was living in Dallas, Texas at the time from Kansas. She's from Kansas, but she was living in Dallas, Texas as a nurse. And she is a travel nurse, so probably she travels around for her career. But they apparently had been talking before they met in the physical on that Wednesday. So it looks like they were developing some form of a relationship, and Kevin seemed to be very excited about this woman. He liked how she was. He felt she was very sweet, very kind. He claimed she was very humble, and he already was so excited about her. He showed his friend, Brian Spurling, photos of this woman, Ortencia, just, expressing that, he felt that if things went well with her, he was considering marrying Ortencia and having children with her. So that clarifies all the questions that we had. This apparently was not a one-night stand. This was a woman that he was interested in, that he was considering for a long-term marriage. This would allegedly been his third potential marriage. That's what Kevin Samuels' friend is alleging, and that he's had conversations about this information with his attorney friend, Brian Spurling. Again, these are all statements and allegations, okay? I don't know the truth. All I know is this individual here, David Spurling, is a friend of Kevin Samuels, claims that they have conversations and that they had communications about this woman. It kind of makes sense because he had already been scoping her Instagram before. As I told you guys, you could see Kevin Samuels liked her photo from 2016. So, I mean, they probably had already been in conversations, and, as he's, scope, and this is the real Kevin Samuels. I clicked on there, you can see the blue check and everything. That's really his liking of her photos. So they probably were in discussion in a long distance type, interaction. And, they were building up some form of a relationship. And apparently, allegedly, I don't know if this guy, Brian Spurling, is telling the truth or not, but allegedly Kevin Samuels was very excited about this woman and was interested in a long-term relationship. So you guys tell me what you guys think. Very interesting, though, how this woman is not African-American, yet he was persistently giving all this horrible, bashing, terrible advice to Black women, telling Black women to not go to school, not to get degrees, telling Black women they were feminists and all these things. But yet he was so excited about possibly marrying this woman who does have a degree, who under his description could be considered a feminist because she's, highly educated career woman. So the hypocrisy of this man just makes me sick. Yeah, Dinah, that's what I was saying. She apparently was not being fully honest on the police report. She told the officers, her statement to the officers was that they had met the night before, which would have been May 4th. But Brian Spurling, who is Kevin's friend, states that Kevin knew of this woman's brothers, and that this woman's brothers were just deep fans of Kevin Samuel, and they basically introduced their sister Ortencia to Kevin Samuels. And it appears though that they had been in I'm alleging, I believe they possibly were in phone conversations or whatever, but he had been getting to know her. And the reason why I believe he had been getting to know her before they met in the physical, before they met on May 4th, they probably were on the phone talking because she was possibly in Dallas, Texas, where she lives. They probably were, having communications over the phone because she knew more details about Kevin than what, a person for a one night stand would know. If you watch my very recent video with the full TMZ 911 phone call, when she is trying to resuscitate Kevin, she tells him, think about your mother, think about your daughter. So it just sounded like me. They had to have had intimate conversations about his family, his background, his upbringing, different things like that. Because when you're trying to get to know someone, what do you guys talk about? You talk about your background. You know what he does on his Instagram or his YouTube when he's asking questions. He always goes into people's backgrounds and what relationships are in, such and such and such. So they were having conversations to get to know each other, and he likely shared with her, what was the extent of his relationship with his mother, what was the extent of his relationship with his daughter, because she utilized those two individuals to try to empower him basically in the time where he was basically, losing his life, to try to fight for his life, to think about those two individuals. So that to me made me question what was the extent of this relationship, because why and how would she know about the significance or whatever scope of their relationship with the mother and father? Why would she utilize those two individuals? So I believe, Brian Spurling is a friend of Kevin Samuels, and they have had conversations about this woman in the past, and he showed photos of her. He obviously had previously, before he passed away, had been on her Instagram liking her photos. So I think that now I'm hearing more about the information. It wasn't likely a one night stand. They had been already in communications. It just appears as though they met physically for the very first time on Wednesday. That was when for the first time they actually met in the physical. You know what I mean? And also, when you do play back his last live when he is talking to her and the way he's talking to her, it sounds as though they kind of had more of a deeper relationship than the one night stand, because if you're just meeting someone, you're not going to show all your dark skeletons that quick to be that snappy in the way he was with her. It just felt like they knew each other a little bit more than what was being portrayed. So I think what she was trying to say when she talked to the officers that night is that she had met him that night, meaning that was the first time she physically met him in the physical. They had already been speaking because they had been in the talks before I think she physically met him, based upon what Kevin Samuel's friend, who was in like a lot of regular conversations with Kevin. Kevin had confided in this man for many different discussions. So I don't know if it's true. It's all allegations, but apparently Kevin's friend is claiming. But you want to know, it's kind of weird. Again, these are all allegations. What I think is kind of weird about this guy is he refers to the reports to say, oh, the report says that she was a nurse. How come Kevin didn't tell him that when he was having all these conversations with him about this woman? Because he does say that Kevin was bragging about the woman, saying how humble and all these great things about her. But I just wonder why he didn't happen to mention, oh yeah, by the way, she's a nurse, she got a career. He left that out when he was talking to him, because he only uses the articles to say, oh yeah, she must have been a nurse based upon the articles. And then he goes into saying that he talked to Kevin personally, and Kevin had already communicated with him about this woman before, and how excited he was about her, and how he loved how humble and sweet and kind and all these great, characteristics of her. And that, if things were to progress, he was going to potentially be interested in marrying her and having kids. So you guys be the judge. You guys tell me what you guys think, whether this guy is actually telling the truth. I will post a link to this full video in the description. I could not sit and suffer through and watch this whole guy because I personally can't stand Kevin Samuels. So this guy is complete advocate for Kevin Samuels. So I didn't really like sitting through the whole entire video. It's like 2 hour or an hour long or something. But I did go to the rubber stamp part. So you would, if you want to hear about the particular relationship that he talks about, you got to start at 30 minutes. Just start at 30 minutes and then you'll go from there and you'll hear what he says about his conversations with Kevin Samuel regarding Ortencia. But basically, based upon what this man is saying, it was not a one night stand, you guys. They already had been talking, developing a relationship allegedly, and probably had met in the physical for the very first time on that Wednesday. Because you already know Tinsha is living in Dallas, Texas. So this was probably a long distance type developing relationship. Okay. She's from Kansas, but she lives in Texas, but somehow she was in Atlanta for whatever reason. So allegedly, she probably was there just specifically to meet him in the physical. You know, you guys know about long distance, relationships or getting to know someone. You talk to them on the phone, you maybe for, over time, getting to know that person, over different days and whoever know how long you're talking. It could have been months they were talking. And then finally they, scheduled it so that they could actually meet up. And maybe when she communicated to the officer, she just said, I met him yesterday. But what I think is so weird is why did she tell him she met him yesterday? Was she saying they met for the first time physically yesterday? That part is weird. Was she lying to the officers? Clearly she was lying about something, which is why everybody is up in, everybody's up in war talking about they think it's a one night stand. So this is all her fault for telling the officers one thing. This was from the police report that TMZ and all these other news outlets reported from her very own words to the police officers that when they wrote this police report, that she had met him the night before. So she caused all this commotion with telling the officers lied to the officers, basically, allegedly lied to them, allegedly. If what this friend here, Brian Spurls, is saying to be true, that they had already been in talking and Kevin Samuels was thinking about marrying her. So apparently, guys, allegedly, based on this information, this was not a one night stand. These two had been dating for a while. Allegedly, they probably finally had met up for the first time. Maybe he flew her out to Atlanta to, meet each other and start developing whatever their relationship was, meeting for the first time. He really liked this woman, was very deeply attracted to her, and was looking for a long-term marriage. This was going to be his third wife, apparently. Okay, you said she was telling the truth and the friend is lying, trying to clear up this demon's reputation. Oh, really, Queen Riri? Oh, well, thank you for helping me out, girl, because one thing I thought was weird about his live, he's supposed to be an attorney, right? And he's talking about Kevin Samuels can sue for defamation after all these news outlets have reported lies. First of all, any attorney knows Law School 101. A dead person cannot be defamed. That's like you learn in law school. That's like one of the basic first rules you learn in tort law is that a dead person cannot sue for defamation. So that was like a red flag. I'm like, is this guy really an attorney? Does he really practice law? Because I was getting all these red flags. Like that was like, after he said that, I just stopped listening because I'm like, any attorney who is a basic lawyer knows that basic law. Like that was weird. Okay. But then he did quote some accurate law about private citizens regarding defamation. But that part right there had me just thinking, I can't even listen to this guy. He just sounds like he's not credible. But that's what he's claiming, you guys. You guys tell me what you guys think. You guys know more than I do. I'm just giving you guys the news. Okay. NRR says he's lying. Okay. You know what? Because think about it, you guys could be right, because the thing is, why did she tell the police officer she met him the night before? And then she didn't know the apartment number. But then on the full 911 call, if you listen to my very last one that TMZ released, she did know about his mother and his daughter. So that's why I was like, well, maybe it could be true. So I don't know. Maybe they had a really deep conversation, but that's weird. Do men who have one night stands have deep, intimate conversations about their family members and kids and all that on a first night? That's interesting. If they're not planning on having any further communication with that person, I would think they wouldn't want to talk too much about any substantive information like that. So that was what I was kind of questioning, really what was the scope of the relationship. Let's see what you guys have to say. He probably is a fake lawyer, just like Kevin Samuels was a fake high value man. Girl, Queen Riri, you might be right. Shoot, allegedly. Let me say allegedly. Dennis is a liar. He's trying to clean up chaos and how he died. Really, Lucy? You might be right because it's so weird, Lucy, that he's trying to impart fear into media takeout, telling media takeout. And even his title was a lie, talking about Kevin Samuels' estate sues. This title right here was a complete lie. Kevin Samuels' estate sues YouTube struggler streamer. That was a complete lie. There's no lawsuit right now in the books right now. And what are they suing for? You can't, a dead person can't be defamed. What are they suing for? What are the damages if he's dead? You know what? And that's what I'm saying. This man is so sketchy. I really need to figure out, is he really a lawyer? Because he was saying things on there that doesn't correspond with what a lawyer says. This man is shady as I don't know what. Allegedly. I got to say allegedly. But I was like, first of all, the title is a lie. So that was a red flag. Then he's misquoting defamation law, which was a red flag because I learned that basic defamation law when I was in law school before I even became a lawyer. That was like one of the first rules we learned in tort law when we started getting on the topic of defamation law. That's the first law we learned in as it relates to defamation, that a dead person cannot sue or cannot be defamed, which was weird. You guys can go Google that yourself. You don't have to be an attorney to know that. So that was a red flag I had there. And then he started saying that, Kevin can lose his lose all damages because he'll lose subscribers, he'll lose money, he'll lose all these things. But how does that affect someone who's dead? Again, strike three. I was getting all these red flags. Listen to them. I'm like, a person who is dead cannot, he doesn't know if he lost subscribers. He doesn't know if he lost money. He's dead. So that part right there was a red strike three with me, with this dude. So, like I said, you guys, I'm just giving you guys the news. I'm giving it to you guys, and you guys can tell me what you think and tell me in the comments what your perspective is. But as it stands, the man sounds like the credibility is just all over the place. And I could not even listen to all of his video. I was forwarding just to try to get to that key part, because there were other bloggers out there saying that he was reporting that this woman was, he had been introduced to Kevin Samuels from the brothers that were fans of Kevin Samuels and all that stuff. So that was, the thing where I was wondering if it was true based on her conversations with the 911 caller. If you guys listen to that, just go to my last video, you guys. I have like 3 videos on the 911 call, but if you listen to the one that I said the entire video, TMZ video that I just released, listen to that one and you will hear on that one where she is talking to Kevin as he's going in and out. I don't even think he could understand her at that point, but I think she was trying to talk to him to tell him to pull through. And she's like, think about your mother, think about your daughter, come on. So I was like, what kind of conversations did they talk about? It seems like they had more of a relationship than just meeting the night before. But then she told the officers they met the night before. So that's what I'm saying. Somebody lying. Okay, somebody lying. Either she's lying or this guy, Dennis Spurling's lying. But somebody is lying between the two. The question is, I don't know who it is. He's trying to scare people to stop digging because he has access to Kevin Samuels' funds. He does? Dang, this man is shady. I think Kevin had money, though. I don't think he was broke. Yeah, NRR. I don't know if that's true. It just seems, I don't know where they got that information from. Again, I just released the allegations to you guys. I don't know if it's true. It's just something that we can have an open dialogue about. I feel bad that Kevin Samuels' mom had to find out about his death on social media. Exactly, Dinah. Exactly, Dinah. I was one that was very traumatic. But like I was telling you guys, it feels like they kind of had a strained relationship because he had no emergency contacts at his apartment. But I don't know, because the fact that she was telling Kevin to think about his mom, think about his daughter, who knows? Watch the Tasha K interview. You guys maybe will hear more about his mom. I didn't follow Kevin Samuel enough to know. Watch one video and was turned off. Exactly, Dinah. I didn't either. I don't even like watching him. Who is saying bye to April? Stick to the self-conclusions? Who is April? Okay, I'm about to block her right now, guys. I just blocked her. I'm not sticking to anything. I can put whatever I want, you guys. This is my channel. If you don't like my channel, get off. I'm going to talk whatever I want. There's thousands and millions of YouTubers out there. I love talking about whatever I want to talk about, okay? Thank you. Thank you, guys. You guys are my peoples. Y'all, I love all of you guys. Thank you for letting me know. I didn't even know she was in the chat doing that, you guys. Thank you so much. There's no such thing as a black man 35 up and still trying to be rappers. The fake lawyer is lying. Okay, thank you, Cream Ruby, for helping me out, y'all, because I'm still trying to figure out all these YouTubers. I didn't know that but I did feel, I told you guys my 3 red flags with him. When I saw those things, it made me wonder if this guy's really legit attorney. I was like, who is this dude? This dude sounds sketchy as heck. He don't even know basic defamation law. That was my red flag number 1. And then this title is a lie, because we know the estate hasn't even been established yet. I don't even think Kevin Samuels even has an estate that soon. This man just passed away on Thursday. They haven't even done anything yet. They're still trying to figure everything out right now. They're trying to figure out the funeral. They haven't even determined whether he has a will. They haven't, because the important part is they need to determine if they have a will, because in the will, he may have indicated the particular people that would be over the estate. That's why I knew this man was lying, because number 1, they got to figure out who's actually over the estate. And the way you know that is by looking at the will. And if there is no will, they're going to have to go to probate court and figure that all out. So none of that could have possibly happened from Thursday when he passed away in one day. That it's now Monday right now, right? So the weekend is closed. So what this is impossible that it happened on Friday and now he has an estate that have sued. And this man posted this a couple days ago, apparently. So he's lying all on the titles, trying to invoke all this fear that ain't even there. The man is a scam, allegedly, because I don't want him coming after me. Allegedly, in my opinion, I think he's a scam. I think he's shady, but I don't know exactly if what he said about the lady is true. You know, he's claiming that they spoke and that the brother and all that stuff. Oh, Lipstick Alley did a whole investigation on Dennis Spurling about 5 months ago. Oh, what did he say in our what did Lipstick Alley say about him? Is that a YouTuber? I didn't realize he was married before and had children. Yes, Dinah. Nelson. Kevin Samuels has been married twice. He was married the first time to his high school love, and they were only married for 1 year, and I believe that's when they had the daughter. Okay, and then he got married to another woman, and they were married for 3 years. And there is a YouTuber out there who had an actual court document showing that the finalization of that divorce was last year. And they had settled all the affairs. It looked like it was a very long, extended divorce process, but it finally had been completed last year. I believe around May. Yes, May, I think. But you guys can look all this stuff up. But there's actually court documents that showed he just finished that the second divorce. So it looks like if what Brian is saying or Dennis is saying to be true, if Dennis is telling the truth, then this Ortencia girl would have been marriage number 3. But I don't know if he's telling the truth, because again, he doesn't even know basic law. So he already seemed like he's committing malpractice if he really is an attorney. Is he really an attorney? Because he don't know the law, though. Come on now. I don't think. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I agree with you, NR. My opinion is I don't think Kevin had a will. Yeah, he probably didn't have a will, which is why I don't think there is an estate at this point, because the estate, they need to determine who is going to be over the estate. And if they don't have a will, it's going to take a long time. They're going to have to go through probate court. They're going to have to battle it out. We don't know who is going to be battling what. There's going to be probably the 2 wives involved. Maybe the ex-wives may come in and sue. And then maybe the mother may be arguing that she's she's the leader of the estate. And then we got the daughter, and then whoever else's family members involved. He was the only child of his mother, but he did have tons of half brothers on his dad's side. So I don't know if they're going to try to come in and try to claim something. So they're going to have to battle it out in the courts, because now I don't think he had a will, in my opinion. In my opinion, he doesn't look like the type that would have had a will, just in my opinion. So this title here talking about Kevin Samuels' estate sues YouTube struggler streamer, that was a complete lie. You are an attorney, Mr. Spurling, and you over here lying? I don't care if it's a YouTube little thing, but you're lying yourself and you're over here spewing all these threats, trying to invoke fear in all these people, but you over here lying. Being an attorney, you have to be one of the most ethical individuals out there, even if you're on social media. Well, that's how I was taught as an attorney. I don't know what kind of attorney he is, but he's sounding sketchy as I don't know what. Kevin had his ex-wife paying him alimony for years. What? Dang, he messy. I thought Kevin Samuel was like Blaine and Antone from Men on Film. Stop already. The man was smart. What are you talking about, CO? What are you talking about, CO? If he even has money and assets, he clearly owned no property because he was renting. Yeah, Creamery. He had cars, but I don't know if he even owned those either. I notice a lot of people die without wills. I don't know if that's just because I'm about to start just blocking people if they get on my nerves. I'm about to be blocking y'all if y'all get on my nerves. I'm just saying. Anyway, if he even has money and assets, you're right, Cream Ruby. I notice a lot of people die without wills. I don't know if that's just because death isn't expected or wills just aren't considered. Okay. That is such a lie. Yeah, guys. So you guys let me know what you think. I don't know if this guy is telling the truth. I think he's kind of sketchy in terms of law, unless he just is allegedly incompetent because he doesn't know basic defamation law, which was a huge red flag. And he's over here spewing false titles on his YouTube. So that's a red flag. So I don't know what this guy's saying. You guys probably helped me out by telling me whether you think it's true. But let me know what you guys think. All right, take care, guys.